All right, good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this Tuesday. I got to keep track of my weekdays here. Of course, we had yesterday off. Great to see all of us here this Tuesday, June 21st, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Great to see Michael, who was with us just a moment ago earlier, made 40 cents on Zillow as a short. Took a small share position, but got 40 cents on it himself. Great to see Michael. Great to see Kathleen, who had a nice profit earlier. Robert, who had a nice profit just before, too, on the REV trade. So, of course, we'll get to REV in just a bit, folks. But for right now, great to see all of us live inside the trading room. Great to see all of us back on YouTube, Facebook Live, or YouTube. So with that, folks, let's hop right to it. The MREO. It was one from actually Friday at the end of last week where we ended up seeing it make a pretty strong run early, and then it dumped back down. But, just given what we've seen over the last week, week and a half, I mean, probably a lot more than that, as evidenced in our Traders Talk workshop earlier this morning, just a lot of these stocks that have dropped off from, a very high price, much higher price over the last year or more. You're seeing some news come out in some variation that generates a big short squeeze. So with that, MREO is seemingly another one of these runners over the last, couple of trading days by now. And then, making a big push above resistance at the time, right off of 167 just earlier. So we'd called it out going into the early afternoon, and it was pretty slow from there. So, we moved on. But, over time, it just kind of stayed there on the gainers list, on the top of our, gainer scanners. And, with that, just we called out this last pop here, and it's made a much better push now for us. So for right now, I'll definitely just put this on our watch list to begin. This is the MREO stock. More of a level 1 or 2. So that means that in terms of, how we categorize it in volatility, nearly any one of us inside our live trading room or trial member even could look to, take a small share position of this at least, just to get the feel of what it's like, whereas some other stocks are really volatile and we wouldn't recommend inexperienced day traders or newly enrolled students to trade them. This is like the perfect type of stock that you'd want to follow. So hopefully from here it makes a higher low and then a higher high later on. If it ends up tanking from this point, probably not as much opportunity in it then. But for right now, it goes on our list. Now I'll tell you, we did a lot of our discussions earlier this morning inside our Traders Talk workshop. We talked about the REV trade briefly, so let me get to that just now. I ended up just getting stopped out on this trade a moment ago. Pretty much nearly every call out I make inside the trading room, I don't have a percentage, but I trade most of what I call out. And unfortunately, I'd missed out on the REV trade earlier this morning. So I didn't get my hands on this earlier where, obviously it was the better run at that time, even heading into the mid-afternoon when it re-broke above resistance off of 5. So, for what it's worth, I missed out on this run, but man, this thing just kept giving. So just before, I ended up just jumping in once it broke under 6 and right back over 6. I ended up taking half my position out early just to, collect some money back. I ended up taking a couple of small losses across the afternoon that I gave back some profit from the morning on, but that's where I took half out. And then I ended up, just setting my stop a few cents under 6. And then just before we started the meeting, it took me out. So here's the thing. I bring that up because it goes to show that I take losses too. But on top of that, well, folks, this stock ended up pumping back from Thursday of last week from 150 all the way up towards 625 today. That's quite a big move. Not every stock's going to be AERC where, it goes from 2 to 20, right? So for as much as this pushed up, you don't want to get stuck on the wrong side of it. So that's where I say at this point, hey, I'll put it on our list. It's still kind of near the highs. If it ends up making a bigger pop, during this meeting or after, lovely. It's on our list. But if it ends up just dropping off steadily from this point, I would not be surprised. All right, so with that, what we'll do is go from top to bottom. We had a couple of other big moves that we caught from earlier today, CLVS being one of them, CEAD being another. Let's start right from the top. I feel like this one's the buyout, CNVY. If so, we're going to just leap over it, but yeah, this is a buyout to me. So I'm going to move away from that, just see what else we got here in the meantime. VALN, pretty low volume. I haven't really seen this chart up until right now, so wanted to at least take a look. CEAD, big move from earlier today. So, and of course, I'd be remiss to not also include just the fact that the markets had, pushed up pretty nicely after the market opened up today. A bit of a gap up from Friday's trading heading into the, long weekend, but we ended up seeing futures rise, Bitcoin rise, crypto, etc. over the weekend. And with that, CEAD, just big mover as well after the market opened up. Let me just double check here really briefly. It's on 24-hour setting. Good. All right. So this one ended up making a really good squeeze, beginning in pre-market, but then shortly after the open only continued up. So pushed up from like 130, 135 up towards, high of the day there. You had a tough time breaking it, but, ended up testing as high as 249, 250. And then from that point, like I always say, once the volume dies off, so does the stock. If it's not going to break any higher, there's only one other way it's going to go, right? So, it's just the same verbiage here. It ended up failing to break higher right off of like 240-ish, 245, 249. And then from there, obviously, took a huge drop back down towards like 175. For right now, it's kind of testing that same bottom as a potential support. So, given how much it moved up today, it wouldn't shock me to just see consolidation or just for it to break lower even. So, hey, if it makes a pop during this meeting, let me know. But otherwise, I'll pass. GGE, Green Giant. I have not seen this one at all today, folks. My first look on it. Thing looks pretty low volume to begin with, at least from earlier today. Trading 5.5 million shares now, but it's flat otherwise. And from this morning, I have no idea what the heck happened here. Looks like this ended up reopening up here, and then I don't know if it got halted again. It doesn't seem like it did, but just super low volume, then just some weird squeeze up after. It's not the type of stock you want to hold on to, right? Like we always talk about. All right. REV, I think I'm pretty happy with my decision on taking some profit. Then, I took a tiny loss on the last set of shares I had, but better that than holding on here, right? So this is only continuing to dump. It's on our list still just in case, but I ended up seeing strong resistance from the weekly chart right off of 756. I called that out much earlier, but I'm not expecting it to hit that price exactly. It's saying that the longer it can kind of hold near the highs, it shows strength. It shows that it's in a good position, right? So that's where you can kind of add two and two together. The CLVS trade, I ended up playing around with this throughout most of the morning. Did pretty nicely on it then, but I looked for the squeeze up heading into the early afternoon, more so like this point here after it ended up making the peak. So that's where I ended up getting chopped up. I took a -2, -3, and you could do this on a lot of shares. So, with that, you don't want to hold on, right? And, you could take a couple of those in a row, a break even, you realize it's not going anywhere after you get in, and, you just move on to other stocks. So, right now, as bullish as I was on this from the morning, and we talked about this from Traders Talk earlier this morning too, stock dropped off from like $90 back from 2017, 2018. So it has a lot of recovery room to do, like the AERC trade, but obviously doesn't seem like it wants to make that push across this afternoon. A bunch of cheapies here otherwise, folks, like 78 cents, 95 cents, $1.18. We're going to skip over those for the most part. Here's one that I know is at the high of the day, the Sorrento trade, Sorrento Therapeutics. We ended up doing really well on them back during the pandemic. Just one of these testing companies and potential vaccine companies as well. Some news out on that too. But with that, I don't know what the news is this morning, but led to a nice squeeze after the market opened up. And it's just at the highs, right? So this, like the MREO, is definitely more of a level one at that. Like, it's like pretty slow. It's like watching the grass grow a little bit here, right? But just it's strong where it's at now. So hopefully this just becomes actually a faster trade. So the box D trade from earlier today make a nice push. It's still holding there, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. So the box D trade I'll put on our list here as well. Don't really yeah, you do. Yeah, about 29, 30,000 shares on the ask on the matrix at 185. So that definitely is our big top here to work with up until 2. But this looks all right for right now. If it ends up failing to break this top or even test 185, then I'd look for it to pull back and reverse, go the other way. But right now it looks good. Box D, we got G box. Man, here's the blue trade. I want to give a shout out to one of our students, John, one of our longtime students, John D. And he called us out earlier today, right? Hey, I like to repost certain call outs, not to make myself look good, just to kind of show you, hey, it pays to follow the chat board. Well, I want to copy and paste John's call out on this trade. So he was the first one to shout this out earlier today at 10:24 Eastern time. It said blue worth watching at the opening print. One of our platinum students, that is John D. And with that, I hope he got most of the trade here, but ended up leading to a really nice run. Took a couple of stabs at that resistance off 370, but during traders talk, ended up making the push from there, and then from that point ended up running right. So just notice the comment. It's the opening bell print. It's exactly what you hear me yell and scream about every day. And notice one of our longtime students, made that call out himself. I wasn't focused on this trade at the time. I told John I wish I got into it, of course, and I follow his call outs every day when he makes them. I know he's a good trader. I hope he got a decent chunk of shares on this position. That's all I'm saying. So, right now it's near the high, so it looks great. We'll put this blue trade back on our watch list. Pays to follow the chat board, folks. I have a line here at 529, likely because we had just had big chart resistance here back from end of March, early April, probably back from this day, but I don't know if it's going to squeeze all the way up to 529 by this afternoon. Should it? I would definitely look for that to be a resistance, if anything. There we go. John got 35 cents on that trade. So, hey, that's a really nice profit for John. I know he's a great trader, and he could probably load up if he's confident enough at the time. And that's a really nice profit on full size anyway. But if he doubled up, tripled up, that could have been pretty good. All right, so let's see what else we got here so far, folks. The blue trades on our list. We got, what is this, Meta Materials? Yeah, this one's too slow right now. A little too slow for my blood. We'll pass on that. MULN had a nice push earlier today. Great sideless stock to keep in mind. Just keep it under radar. That's all. Not watching this intently every morning, but it's one that if it's up big in pre-market or if it's down big in pre-market, trading a lot of volume, that's one to definitely keep an eye on. So today, I think it was doing just that. It was, at least trading a lot of volume early pre-market, and with after the market opened up, ended up pushing up pretty nicely. It's just pretty flat here for the afternoon so far. So pass on here right now. Got Express EXPR, one of the original meme stocks back in the beginning of 2020 or 2021. Lose track of my years at this point. Right there with AMC and GameStop and Bed Bath Beyond, Bobby J, and all that good stuff there. VBIV, I didn't realize 80 cent stock. Didn't really mean to click on the based on the price, but it's one that we followed over the years. But yeah, I mean, it's at the highs here, this one, but not really doing a whole lot. So all right, let's hop on over to the losers list here right now, folks. We got the market just, although up, it's like kind of flat still, so it needs a nice kick here before we really focus on the other sideless stocks. I know NEO's up a decent amount today. We'll look at that definitely by the end, but for right now, let's hop on over to the losers list. The ACAD trade down big. It is shortable, but it's dead. It's flat. So the first two reasons are great reasons to follow this type of stock, but right now, not really doing a whole lot. All right. Otherwise here, I mean, I guess I'll look at it. A little expensive, but DVA, I didn't really check this one out up until right now. So this one actually a lot more active compared to the other one, a little more expensive. So in terms of opportunity, you can only trade so many shares, right? But the only issue on this trade is the liquidity, lack thereof. Not really a whole lot out there on the order book for this trade. You got the EC stock. I mean, it's within our price range. It's down a decent amount. It's liquid. It's tradable. Definitely tradable, but is it worth it for the next hour and 15 minutes compared to some of the other trades? Don't have a great need to put this on our list right now. I'd really want to have something at the lows or at the highs, respectively, here at this point. So if it's kind of sandwiched in the middle, not really doing a whole lot, I'm going to pass. All right, so for right now, folks, I think that's pretty much all I have from the gainers and losers lists. If there's anything else that looks good here in the chat board, just type it in there. Let me know. So far, we got 5 stocks to work with. We'll just check out a couple of these others here. Like I said, NEO's up big today. Up over 10%. It's at the highs, but it's just a little slow here for right now. The fact that it's at the highs and it's just, obviously tradable based on liquidity, that's a great reason to follow it. AMC, it's kind of sandwiched in the middle, if anything, making like very clear lower highs. American Airlines getting a nice little pushback up here right now, so that's interesting to see. It's not up or down a whole lot percentage-wise right now, but just good tradable stock. If you do well on the airlines in particular or AAL, I'm sure you'll be more inclined to follow it. I'm sure you could say the same on a cruise line here like Carnival. Carnival a little slow right now. AAL definitely looking just a little bit sharper. Yeah, it might be airlines over cruise lines, if anything. But, otherwise, there's nothing really else that's standing out to me, folks. So, I'll say that probably about a lot of different stocks that are here on our side list right now. OMER too slow, Leda asking. It's up over 11%, trading over 1 million shares. Good volume on the order book. I really like that part of it because if it was really thin, then I'd probably disregard it pretty fast. It's near the highs, right? And also, most importantly, the reason why I like this stock more than anything, hey, if you were in trader stock just a couple hours ago, folks, look at the daily chart. This stock has taken a huge hit over the last, few months, several months at that, if not a lot more, year plus. So similar to a CLVS, similar to all these others that we talked about in our workshop exclusively inside our live trading room this morning, then that this is actually a pretty good stock to follow right now. Just, hopefully it does make that pop that we want. If not, it happens, but it's definitely, something that I'll keep an eye on right now. It's on our list. You definitely want to see a lot more volume getting traded over the next, even 3 to 10 minutes, let's say. Very imminently, you want to see this begin to trade a lot more volume, whether it either breaks down a little bit to test past resistance as support right over here, or if it ends up just holding here and making another pop higher. You just want to see more volume being traded because volume typically promotes and emphasizes volatility. There's another word I was looking to use there, but I forgot it at the time. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up right now. If there's anything else, just last call, let me know. I think that we pretty much went through everything here, but I like what we have so far. In total, we got 2, 4, 6, 7 stocks to work with. Right down the middle. And I'd say not too big, not too little. Hope everybody bought Bitcoin at 18,000. All right, folks, with that, we're going to wrap up right now. Hey, if you're joining us on YouTube and Facebook Live, I appreciate you sticking with us here each and every day, each and every afternoon. I always like to post my email address here at the end of these streams, josh@ctutrading.com. Any questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions, anything to do with our call-outs, live trading room, stock trading, or crypto trading education, let me know. I'm happy to talk to you on the side, if anything. But otherwise, if you're ready to pull the trigger, join us live inside our trading room alongside Michael, Leda, John, and all of us just there live right now, the 88 or 89 of us live right now. Just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there of the stream just to get yourself started. But for all of us there right now, hey, I'm going to jump onto a coaching call with one of our students, probably follow the MREO stock to begin. At least that one's one of the more active ones on our list to begin. Probably that in blue, I'd say. But otherwise, though, folks, I'll jump back on the mic right at 3:30 here to wrap things up for us here heading into the market close. Talk to you all soon.
Become Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.